Hey guys, Brad Gilmore here. Want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor, Walker Texas Lawyer. If you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, whether that be a car, truck, motorcycle accident, or some kind of other issue, hit up Walker Texas Lawyer at 713-552-1117 or walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Jessica Alba and Lizzie Mathis. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Kevin Costner joins us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad, good morning to you. How are you?
George Lopez joins us right now. George, how are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What lovely to talk to me, funny lad.
Megan Trainor.
Thank you so much, Brad. You're awesome.
Chloe Bailey joins us. I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you.
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat.
Brad Gilmore! And I am so delighted to be talking to my next guest, the author of a brand new book called My Peacock Tale, Secrets of an NBC Page. The one and only Shelley Herman joins us this morning. Shelley, how are you?
Hey, I'm so glad to hear your voice. How are you?
I'm doing well. Look, when I saw that you were doing this book and just reading kind of the synopsis of it and knowing a little bit about what the NBC pages do, I was like, oh, this is right up my alley and in my wheelhouse. How long have you been working on this project?
Well, I started as a page on June 21st, 1976. So it's been a part of my life for a long time. And I'm really, really proud to say that the friends that I met back then are still really close friends of mine. In fact, just last October, a year ago, we had this huge reunion where we had 150 people gather, and we all just looked at each other and went, wow, what a strange trip it's been.
Well, for people who might not know what an NBC page is, explain to the folks exactly what the pages are responsible for at NBC.
Well, the program originated in New York, and some famous people who were pages include Chuck Barris, Regis Philbin. Notice I'm mentioning men's names, Peter Marshall. It wasn't until 1972 that the women were allowed to take on these duties, which is essentially an executive training program that lasts for 18 months. And presently, 16,000 people apply for the job each year. And you're given 18 months once you're there to try to meet people, learn the ropes of the television business, and hopefully make the right connections so that you can get the next rung up the ladder in show business.
And so when you started the job, you were there in Burbank, right? Is where you started as a page?
Beautiful downtown Burbank, yeah. And we would give tours of the facility. We would usher the TV shows. Sometimes we got limo runs, which meant that they would stick us in a limousine, send us out to LAX, and we'd pick up the different celebrities to take them to events, make sure they got home okay, take them to the Rose Parade. It was a very heady experience for a 20-year-old. I can tell you that.
I can only imagine. So, okay, I've always had a fascination with the Tonight Show and especially the Johnny Carson years. And Burbank was, when his show moved there in the 70s, I think it was, Burbank became the home of the Tonight Show for Johnny Carson through the rest of his run. And I know that while you were a page, you had a lot of experience working around that Tonight Show, which I guess for people who may not know, it was the biggest show on television. You appeared on Johnny. Everyone knew who you were the next day, or so the legend goes. So how was it working around Johnny Carson?
Well, the show itself ran like a very well-oiled machine. Johnny would get to the studio at about 2:00 in the afternoon. That doesn't mean that he spent the whole morning, sleeping in. He lived in Malibu, which is about an hour's drive from Burbank, and he would get up first thing in the morning, read the newspapers, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, LA Times, National Enquirer, wherever he could get material for his opening monologue. And he would call over to the studio and he would assign certain topics to certain writers, or they would come up with stuff on their own, so that by the time he got in at 2:00, he had some jokes. The writers had jokes. Sometimes the writers would have little skits for him to do, the Mighty Carson Art Players, Tea Time Movie, Karnak. So each writer kind of had their own little area of expertise. And then, of course, there were the talent coordinators, some of whom would book the movie stars, some would book the TV stars, some would book the comics, some would book the musicians. So everybody had their place, and that's why when the show first came to LA, it was 90 minutes, and they would shoot it at 5:30 in the afternoon, finish at 7:00, and it would be up on the satellite to go to New York that same day. And that's how it stayed so topical, because people who didn't get their news from Walter Cronkite were getting a version of it from Johnny Carson.
And I'm assuming working on the show, you would have some run-ins with the man himself. What could you tell us about Johnny himself?
Johnny would be it sounds weird, he would be shy whenever we would see him in the hallways. He's always very cordial. I hate to say, usually smoking.
Yes.
But that was what people did back in the day. Whenever we would bring our tour groups around, just so happened to be standing in the area where Johnny would be arriving every day, Johnny would usually kind of, give a wink and a hello to everybody and, say something like, the tour's a ripoff, get your money back, always give somebody a reason to laugh. But he was also, as efficient as the show was, he was out the door like 10, 20 minutes after the show was over. I mean, he wasn't sticking around glad-handing and doing all that. He did his job and went home or went out to dinner, and that was the end of his workday.
Yeah, I think Johnny, he would arrive in his Corvette or whatever it was, and I think when you do it so long and you have so much notoriety, I think that he probably enjoyed some peace and quiet at home, perhaps, after the show. I mean, because it was just the biggest show in television. And I'm sure when you were working there at Burbank, I can only imagine the cavalcade of celebrities that walked through those halls that you got to brush shoulders with. Were there any that kind of were striking to you?
Well, I'll tell you a very quick story. We saw Sinatra, Pavarotti, people I couldn't afford to buy concert tickets to. I mean, they were all there. But my hero to this day is Harry Chapin, the Cats in the Cradle guy, the song Taxi.
Of course.
And I would go see Harry Chapin every year at the Greek Theater, and I thought I was going to miss seeing him one year because I broke my leg. But one of my Page friends, George Glovna, got us front row seats. I propped my leg up on the bar ahead of me, a big cast on my leg, watched the concert. The next day, Harry was on The Tonight Show, and I went backstage with my crutches, and I wanted to say hello to him. And before I could even open my mouth, Harry Chapin looked at me and said, "You were at my concert last night," because he recognized my cast. Because he was staring down at it the whole time. So, yeah, I've had wonderful encounters with people, and it wasn't just Johnny Carson. It was Sanford and Son was being done there, Red Fox, the Midnight Special, all those fabulous concerts. I became friends with Andy Kaufman. He was doing the different comedy shows. Hollywood Squares, The Gong Show. I mean, I was at the hub of everything that was really neat and groovy back then.
Well, let me ask you, because you brought him up, and I have to ask you this before I get you out of here. And again, we're talking to Shelley Herman. She has a new book out called My Peacock Tale, Secrets of NBC Page. You talk about Andy Kaufman, who's somebody I'm fascinated by. I actually just watched Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey this last weekend. I was just watching that, and I'm all in on Andy Kaufman. As a person off the screen, because obviously Andy was offbeat on screen and was known for pulling practical jokes sometimes where he and Bob Zamuda were the only people who understood what the joke was. But how was it working with him off screen? Was he what kind of guy was he?
I'd like to say I knew Andy Kaufman, but I don't know. I mean, he would call me at home and say, "Ooh, quick, come to my house. There's a bug in my bathtub. Come help me." And I didn't know if he was like playing a joke on me or not, but he was always very kind. And I'll tell you this. He told me that he got hired at ABC to do this horrible situation comedy and that I shouldn't watch it. It's terrible. And of course, he was talking about Taxi.
Yeah.
Flash forward several years later, I married one of the cast members from Taxi, the guy that played John Burns. His name is Randall Carver. So I didn't watch Taxi the first year because my friend Andy said it was no good. So.
Well, I think that Andy played Latka on the show. Obviously, was great. I don't know about that Tony Clifton fellow, but that's another conversation for another day. But Shelley, thank you so much for joining us again. It's called My Peacock Tale: Secrets of an NBC Page by Shelley Herman. Shelley, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I really appreciate it.
And thank you.